Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the American Pop Culture Series channel. I hope that all of you are having a wonderful week. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. And so the ladies have a beautiful set there. And they opened with the main topic talking about Republicans and how, after the blue wave hit, with a lot of the Democrats winning, a lot of Republicans are considering leaving office. Now, as we know, I'm sure that most of you have heard that Marjorie Taylor Greene is also, she's said that she is going to resign in January, which is only a few months away. 2025. This year has been so just like topsy turvy, and so much has gone on. I mean, this second Trump administration has really, um, I feel like it's pulled the curtain back on a lot of issues and has shown a level of transparency in regarding the work that needs to be done, unfortunately, in this country. And it's unfortunate because, I can't even say unfortunate, right? I feel like a lot of times people grow complacent, myself included, and unless you really look at issues critically and you take a step back, I think that well, I was going to say, I guess it is unfortunate that a lot of people have been hurting, economically. Um, the whole, issue with like SNAP benefits, there were long food lines, and it broke my heart to see, like the kids in line. Um, but also, I feel like there needs to be a radical transformation, and healing really doesn't start until you get serious about the root issue, of the problems, right? When you go to the doctor, you don't want him to sugarcoat things, right? You want him to tell it to you straight and to get in, get to the root of the issue so that you can make the necessary changes, or they can make the necessary changes to cut it out or do whatever they need to do to fix the issue. And I feel like, for better or for worse, that's what this Republican Party and that's what this Trump, this second term, has done for this country. So let's go ahead and get into what Kevin McCarthy was saying. I can't play the clip. I used to in earlier recaps, but ABC is very protective about their material, and I completely understand that. But basically, Kevin McCarthy was just warning. He's saying that people are going to jump ship, and a lot more Republicans are getting threats on their life, which is never okay. But he feels like a lot of people are going to follow the path of Marjorie Taylor Greene and resign their position. And while that may be unfortunate, of course, you always want to protect, yourself, your family. Self-preservation is so important. I also feel like, again, this will usher in the change that a lot of people have been asking for. Like Trump, I mean, like Alyssa said, in previous videos, Trump mainly got elected um, because he promised economic improvement. And when he didn't deliver on those promises, that has caused, a backlash of just people realizing, that they were essentially lied to. And what's worse is, there's not going to be any type of accountability. The president in Brazil, he has gotten arrested for essentially, trying to stay in power and trying to lead an insurrection and trying to follow in the footsteps of Donald Trump. And while Donald Trump was impeached twice and has, 34 felonies and all these things, I don't know. I think the Supreme Court has granted him immunity, so he's not going to be prosecuted. And even if he didn't get immunity, I don't think that this Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, would, prosecute him. And so that's what the ladies were basically saying, that, the House, they have full, power. The House, the Senate, the Republicans are mostly conservative. Um, and so when you have no checks and balances, like Anna was saying, they've essentially ceded power in Congress. They've ceded power And Trump knows that they're feckless. Trump knows that they're going to essentially rubber stamp everything that he is saying. And so that's not healthy for a democracy. You need checks and balances, which is what the foundation of this country was built on, right? And so I feel like because so many people ushered in, Democrats, and they're more boisterous in regarding wanting change. I feel like hopefully we'll make that happen, right? Because the United States of America is built on the premise of we the people. And so it's supposed to be a democracy that represents the wants and the desires of the people, not Elon Musk coming in to be, now he's going to be the world's first trillionaire with a T, which is mind boggling. Uh, but he came in, they created Doge, and now they're dismantling Doge after mining people's data and not really, again, fulfilling that contract, fulfilling those promises. So, again, it was just a lot of empty promises to people, a lot of disappointment. But after the disappointment wears off, I'm hopeful that effective change will follow. So moving on, we have the next segment, which is Chef Michael Simon, and he's talking about um, his return to South Beach Wine and Food Festival. And he's also talking about his new show, 24 and 24, last Chef Standing, which they filmed for 24 hours straight, which is amazing, which is like mind boggling to me. But him and Carla Hall and his other co host from The Chew, which has been off the air for like 7 years, which is, again, time is flying by. But they also have a YouTube channel. And so he said they film 12 times a month, 3 times a week. And, he said that YouTube allows them just the flexibility that network television, maybe on the Food Network, didn't allow. He's like, we get to kind of curse and cut up and have fun. And he made, the ladies mocktails, and, different food throughout the show. That's really nice, right? I always love when, like, they have chefs and, co-hosts come in and help. And here's the thing: I've never been to the View. I would love to visit the set one day, but I'm hopeful that, similarly to, like when Whoopi's giving out birthday gifts and things like that, um, that they feed the audience too, maybe behind the scenes. But I hope they don't just eat and then not feed the audience. But he was just sharing that, he started a restaurant with his wife when he was 28, and they were talking about how, he had a lot of energy back then because they film and they stay up like 36 hours straight. But this show is number 2 on the Food Network, so congratulations to Chef Michael Simon, and with his YouTube channel, his restaurant, and his new show. So he said that hopefully he's gunning for the number 1 spot on Food Network, but may he continue with all his culinary success. And so the other segment that had me like cracking up was topics to avoid at the holiday dinners. And while the reason why I said it cracked me up is because, of course, people typically talk about staying away from politics and religion. But Anna, who is hilarious, in my opinion, I love the fact that she is so open and, transparent. She said, Alyssa, set it up. And she said that we go around the table every year at my family dinner and say what we're thankful for. So Joy prompted her. She's like, well, why don't you do that now? And so Alyssa says, I'm thankful for all you ladies. And Joy's like, oh, come on, And so Anna, she says, I'm just thankful I haven't been deported yet. Anna says, I'm thankful I haven't been deported yet. And Joy starts clapping. And she's like, we'll be right back. Like, that's how they ended the segment. And not to make light or levity about, people who are actually going through difficult things, but it was just so funny because, Anna's always been very open about being a champion for immigration rights. And who knows, you know what I mean? Like, she's definitely, even though she's a Republican, she's definitely not a fan of Trump. so the joke just landed perfectly. And Joy, appreciates that sense of humor. I do too. I thought it was funny, and the fact that Joy was clapping out the way that in the segment was hilarious. But anyway, I really enjoyed this show. I hope that all of you have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving Eve. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.